Hi, it's Katrina. Number 10. The Headhunters of Borneo. In the jungles of Borneo, a group of rubber workers took journalists from the British newspaper, The Independent, to the site of a terrifying massacre. Here, the journalists bore witness to 5 female skeletons. The bizarre thing about the skeletons? All had missing heads, and each body showed deep wounds through which their hearts had been removed. As the rubber workers took the journalists deeper in the jungle, a rough road led to the small town of Salatiga. This is the colony where the headless victims once lived. In the town, almost nothing remained when the reporters arrived. The houses had been reduced to burned timbers, melted glass, and twisted iron. This all happened in the Indonesian province of Kalimantan, and not so long ago. It's one of the most remote locations in the world, and where a group of so-called headhunters is still active. Even more terrifying is that before the journalists arrived, the road had been littered with the mutilated bodies of men, women, and children. Each one of them was missing its head. The jungle was being patrolled by members of the Dayak tribe with spears and rifles. It was they who hunted down the settlers who had moved from a different island called Madura to Borneo. When they caught these migrants, they shot them and removed their heads. Then, according to eyewitnesses, they ripped out their hearts and ate them. That's a way to keep people out of your territory. All of this happened unbeknownst to the outside world. It was a massacre perpetrated by descendants of tribesmen that lived on the island for thousands of years before the Dutch or the British ever showed up. The Dayak are the original inhabitants of the island, grown famous in the 19th century for their cannibalism and what Europeans called savagery. They have a long history, and it looks like this tradition is re-emerging in Borneo. So be careful where you step as an outsider. They will make it clear that you don't belong there. Number 9. The Jurassic Sea Dragon. Paleontologists in Britain have unearthed the largest marine reptile ever found in a terrifying ancient discovery. This marine monster lived 180 million years ago and would have made modern great white sharks look harmless by comparison. Its skeletal remains stretch over 32 feet long. They were excavated just last year in the United Kingdom with help from experts at the University of Manchester. The skull of the beast alone weighed a whopping 2,200 pounds. That makes it the biggest of its kind ever found in Britain, and the most complete skeleton of any ancient marine animal ever. This animal was an ichthyosaur, a type of dolphin/reptile popularly known as a sea dragon. Conservation officials found its remains completely by accident while doing routine maintenance at a lagoon in the Rutland Water Nature Reserve. It's being compared to finding a complete Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton, but in the middle of the English countryside. These marine monsters lived from between 250 to 90 million years ago. They went extinct just 24 million years before the asteroid arrived and ended the reign of the dinosaurs. They may have resembled dolphins in body shape, but they were truly ferocious predators. Number 8. New spider in Miami. Scientists have identified a terrifying new species of spider in a rather unlikely place. Residents of Miami now need to be on the lookout for a small, shiny black tarantula-like spider. The newly discovered spider is very small, no bigger than a coin, yet it has venom that can induce a painful sensation that feels similar to getting stung by a bee. Florida has a fair amount of dangerous creatures already, and now they can add another venomous spider to the mix. It was first identified by a zookeeper at Zoo Miami and has since been named the Pine Rockland Trapdoor Spider. The male is about the size of a coin, while the female can grow to be over 3 times bigger. These spiders hunt by creating underground burrows with hinged trapdoors. This allows them to hide from predators, then jump out and snatch any potential prey that gets too close. The only good news for people is that it primarily eats crickets, beetles, and moths. Its venom isn't considered fatal to humans, just extremely painful. But here's one more amazing fact about this spider. Scientists have found that it can live for decades in the same burrow. What this means is that it can live for 10, 20, 30 years in a small spider-made cellar underground without ever leaving. 30 years seems like a long time for a spider to live, doesn't it? Number 7. A monster star eruption. Something amazing has been witnessed in the stars. Researchers captured the eruption of a neutron star in 2021. They were able to determine that the energy produced by the explosion was equal to the same amount of energy our sun generates over a span of 100,000 years. It created all of this energy in just 1/10 of a second. Imagine if all of the energy being produced by our sun were stored in some kind of device for the next 100,000 years, then released all at once. The force would be enough to blow apart our solar system. And as if an explosion of unimaginable proportions wasn't terrifying enough, scientists believe the eruption was caused by something known as a starquake. The neutron star is located 13 million light years away from our planet in the Sculptor galaxy. The researchers involved in the study called it, and I quote, a true cosmic monster. Victor Reglero, one of the scientists involved in the study, said that it was almost like the star literally exploded with the force of 1 billion suns. The reason for the explosion, multiple starquakes, is just as bizarre. These quakes happened within the star itself, disrupting its outer layer and allowing flares to break through its surface. At least that's what scientists think. It's still just a theory right now, awaiting further evidence. Scientists are still working to figure out how such incredible bursts of energy can be made out in the universe. Imagine what would happen if our sun or another nearby star experienced a starquake. That would be terrifying. Number 6. A scary bug. Moving from the explosion of 1 billion suns, let's look at a very tiny creature here on Earth that is about to haunt your dreams. Scientists have discovered the very first true millipede. This might be a little confusing since people assume that all millipedes come with 1,000 legs. It's not true. Until this recent discovery, the highest leg count of a single millipede has been 750. They are only called millipedes because they have so many legs, even if it's not quite 1,000. But this newest discovery has even more. It has approximately 1,306 legs and looks like a sci-fi movie monster. It's been named Eumillipes persephone. It was discovered deep beneath the ground of Western Australia by researchers with Virginia Tech. It's a super elongated millipede and the new record holder for the creature with the greatest number of legs. Now get ready for a whole bunch of crazy facts. First of all, millipedes have been on our planet for 400 million years. That's almost as long as complex creatures have been around. Yet scientists can't say when this true millipede first evolved. They don't even know when they stopped growing new legs. So far as scientists are concerned, these millipedes could continue growing in unexplored underground areas, growing many more legs and creeping into your nightmares. How would you feel if an insect that has over 1,300 legs crawled up on you? Does this creepy crawler freak you out? Let me know in the comments. Number 5. The Tunnel of Death. A tragic and terrifying discovery was recently made in France. Military historians say that not since the 1970s has such an important discovery involving World War I been made. Found in the woods near the city of Reims, this terrifying discovery is the resting place of over 270 German soldiers. They had lain there for over a century, but it's how they died before that's truly disturbing. A team of local historians finally uncovered the entrance to the Winterberg Tunnel. Located on the Chemin des Dames battlefront, this tunnel was involved in a doomed offensive by the French. In the spring of 1917, they tried to retake the hills near the River Ain. The Germans held, and since they had been there for 2 years, they already had a system of underground defenses. The Winterberg Tunnel was one of these systems, moving through the hills to connect the front line with supplies. The French eventually found out about the tunnel and launched an artillery bombardment. They hit each end of the tunnel, collapsing it, and the men inside were trapped. But that's not all. Shells fired at the tunnel set off explosions inside from ammunition stores. This sent a cloud of acid through the shaft, and those who didn't die from the acid fumes suffocated over the next 6 days as they ran out of oxygen. After the war was over, the tunnel was forgotten. It wasn't reopened again until a few months ago by French historians, who are now working on what to do with the numerous remains of World War I era German soldiers. Number 4. Screams in a mental asylum. When an urban explorer broke into an abandoned mental asylum, he probably thought it was going to be an interesting adventure, and that perhaps he'd get some great photos. Lewis Davidson, a 26-year-old from Cumbria, broke into an abandoned asylum in Scotland, a place that has been deserted since the 1980s. He went alone, and there was no one else in the building with him. He spent 2 hours digging through the terrifying remains of a place where people with psychiatric illnesses suffered greatly. No surprise, Lewis believes he actually encountered the souls of one of these people. He didn't realize it until he had already left and gone home. It was as he was going through the video footage that he heard a scream. This scream was so loud in his headphones that it completely caught him off guard. He hadn't heard it at the time, but there was no mistaking it in the audio. The scream had come as he was walking into the destroyed library to take a break. He said that at that moment it had felt as if someone was watching him. Listening to the video later, it seemed maybe someone was. Of course, it could have just been the wind, but he didn't think so. It was clearly a human scream. Lewis believes it may have been the soul of a person once incarcerated, shrieking for help. Number 3. Body in a well. In West Virginia, the corpse of a missing woman was found dumped in a well on a secluded farm, which itself is in the middle of a creepy forest. The discovery has since led to a man being charged with murder. It all started when the family of Cheyenne Johnson reported her missing. According to the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, she was last seen in Jackson County. Her family didn't know where she had gone. She didn't leave a note, she didn't call anyone, she just vanished. Shortly after, an unidentified woman reached out to the police, saying that she had overheard a group of men speaking about a murder. She met with detectives and told them that she heard a man say that he brought a girl out to a farm in Derrick's Creek, killed her, and buried her. It was a total fluke that this woman happened to be within earshot of the murderer as he bragged to a friend about what he had done. The police went to check out the farm, and that was when they found the body in the well. A man named Michael Smith shot Cheyenne in the head with a rifle, dragged her to the well, and then dumped her in there. The alleged motive was that Cheyenne had supposedly stolen his girlfriend's car and then brought it back the next day. This seems like a horrific overreaction and a very terrifying discovery. Number 2. The tortoise and the baby bird. In a surprising and horrifying discovery, scientists have discovered that tortoises enjoy eating baby birds. These slow, ancient reptiles may appear extremely low-key, but they apparently are also guilty of this unsavory appetite. Scientists in the Seychelles captured video footage of a massive tortoise stalking and then murdering a helpless chick. The tortoise literally hunted the baby bird to eat it, a behavior never before seen in these animals. In fact, until now, giant tortoises were thought to be herbivores. Scientists have only ever seen them practice a vegetarian diet, but it looks like tortoises will eat anything they can, including the chicks of seabirds. Researchers are now starting to think that maybe tortoises are just too slow to do the kind of hunting they really want. We don't know if all tortoises are capable of this evil. Since it's only been witnessed once, it could be a total anomaly, but given the fact that the tortoise lingered around the nest until a chick fell out, then hunted it and snatched it, it could be a secret behavior that scientists have missed. Or maybe it's just this one tortoise, who sometime over its ridiculously long life acquired a taste for baby birds. Number 1. The background check. It's hard to say if what I'm about to tell you is creepy, terrifying, or just plain weird. Either way, a woman recently discovered something strange while using her husband's laptop. The couple had already been married for 3 years, but it was only now that she learned something she probably would have liked to know before sealing the deal. She discovered proof that before the two got married, her soon-to-be husband ran a background check, not only on her, but on her family members as well. How did she find out? They were on vacation and she needed to use his computer for something. She tried to make a new folder with her name on it, only to discover there was already a folder with her name on it. When she looked in the folder, she found reports on her, her close family, and her extended family. She even found reports on her childhood friends. The woman was furious. She got so angry at her husband that she left their vacation, stayed by herself in a different hotel, and then flew home. But sadly, we don't know how this story was resolved. Did they stay together? Did they get divorced? Does anybody know? I mean, the story of this discovery made national news. Let me know what you think. Was this a terrifying discovery or not? Would you be freaked out? I guess the lesson is to be careful when looking through your partner's laptop. You just never know what might be lurking there. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time for more terrifying discoveries.